Duke Eclipse presents the Horror Hideout Podcast, a podcast covering everything horror, including books, comics, and movies. Presented by Dawson Duke and Kayla Bullock.
Welcome back to Horror Hideout.
I'm really excited about this movie.
Me
I forgot
too.
how good it was. It's called You Might Be the Killer.
I'd never seen it before, and I'm surprised I hadn't.
It's from 2018.
And it's a horror comedy. It's in a similar vein to like Final Girls and Cabin in the Woods, which we've covered both of.
Yes. So we have Fran Kranz, who plays Sam. Allison Hannigan plays Chuck. There really are two main characters. But we have Amani, Jamie, Steve, Brad, Freddie, Drew, Nancy, Heather, Bob, Carol, Ted, and Alice. And they are the camp counselors at Camp
I don't remember.
something Vista. Flora Vista? Something. But our main person, so Sam is our main guy. And I started watching this movie and I'm like, man, he sounds like Marty from Cabin in the Woods.
And I caught it as soon as I saw him.
I didn't think he looked the same.
I think he does.
I didn't think he looked the same. He sounded like him, so then when I looked it up, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Marty. And then Allison
But yes,
Hannigan,
he plays Marty in Cabin in the Woods.
Yes. And so then Allison Hannigan, she plays Lily in How I Met Your Mother.
Which I haven't seen.
I watched part of it. So,
Yeah, you weren't a fan.
no.
You'd stick to the Big Bang Theory.
Right? I think I just told you that.
Yeah.
So, I want to go through this really quick before we dive into the movie. So, Jamie, who is one of the camp counselors who is set up to be our final girl, is named after Scream Queen Jamie Lee Curtis.
I was wondering about that.
Where'd my other ones go? Where's my other ones? Hold on just a second, guys.
Is Sam named after Sam from Trick or Treat?
It does not say that. But,
I'm joking.
So there's characters named Fred and Nancy, which are the two main characters in The Nightmare on Elm Street. Chuck is short for Charlotte, but she's named after Chucky.
Yeah.
Because she wears bibs and has red hair. There's Nancy and Heather. Nancy was played by Heather in A Nightmare on Elm Street. There's Nancy and Drew. They're named after the fictional detective Nancy and Drew.
Oh, that makes sense. I was thinking Drew Barrymore.
There are 4 characters, each with the names Bob, Carol, Ted, and Alice, and they are mentioned in exactly the same order after the 1969 film of the same name.
Okay.
So...
Isn't Drew Barrymore the Scream? She's the first kill in Scream. Am I right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder if that was part of it, too.
Yeah, that's her. Yeah. They don't say that in here, but it could be. And one more thing I want to say before we start. So Allison Hannigan only worked on this movie for 2 days. That was it. That's all she had to do. So, again, we've talked about this on some other movies. We're gonna probably talk about this one in time, like in chronological order, just to make it make sense. But this film is not presented in chronological order.
I'm okay with talking about the first part and then going back and talking about chronological order.
That's fine.
Because I like the beginning, like, opening scene.
Yeah. So I'll let you start.
So the movie opens and we see Sam running through the woods and he's covered in blood. And he runs into a cabin and locks the door and pulls out his phone and calls Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
And she works at a nerd store, I'm going to say. I don't know what else to call it because it looked like it had comic books, but there were also movie posters, so I imagine it's kind of just like a...
Comics, DVDs.
Yeah, like a variety shop of...
And its name is Rings of Saturn.
Yes.
And there's a sign outside of it that says, I like big books and I cannot lie.
And there's a poster for Trailer Park Shark on the end of one of the shelves. And we're going to cover that movie during our Shark Week. Like our Shark Week month. Instead of just doing a Shark Week, we're doing a Shark Week month.
Yeah.
But, do you want to...
You said you liked the opening scene.
Yeah, with the cabin.
Oh. So, he gets into the cabin and he calls Chuck.
Yeah.
And Chuck is working at Rings of Saturn. And so, the majority of our movie is Chuck trying to help Sam figure out who the serial killer. Well, not the majority of the movie, but pretty much the majority of the movie is Chuck is trying to help Sam figure out who the serial killer is
with all her horror movie knowledge.
with all of her horror movie knowledge. And so,
And even some of those, like the movies that you said the names were references to, she brings up some of those. Like she mentions Nightmare on Elm Street, and I don't remember what else she mentions.
I don't remember either.
But I think she mentions like Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, she does at one point.
Yeah.
And she mentions a lot of them, like naming off some of them. She mentions what's the camp one where sleepaway camp? She mentions that one. I know.
Yeah. Well, and she listed some that I didn't know if were real or not.
Yeah, I wondered that too, because there was, and then I think some of them might have been like actual, like real serial killer, like real life serial killers.
I didn't pick up on that.
I could be wrong, but I thought some of them were.
But so as Sam's in the cabin and he's on the phone with Chuck, he's like, "Hold on a minute, someone's trying to burn the cabin down."
Yeah, and so what I started to say, and then I got distracted by something else, was the whole movie is basically told through mostly through flashbacks.
Yeah.
Of Sam telling Chuck what happened.
Yeah. And so, like, when we're seeing the kills, it brings up, like, a graphic on the screen that tells us that, like, the kill numbers and stuff. But, like, the first kill we see is kill number 6.
Yeah.
And then it goes back and I think it shows, like, 10 or something. And it kind of jumps around.
Yeah.
And then later on, it's funny because later on in the movie, Chuck is writing this all down on a notepad. And she's jotting them down in order so we get flashes of each murder so we know what, like, the order they happened in and stuff. But do we want to go to chronological order now?
I think so. I think that makes
because
sense.
Chuck, as she's talking to Sam, is like, "Well, do you have a weapon?" And he's like, "Yeah, I have a piece of wood or something." But then he looks in his hand and he's holding like a bone.
He said he had a baseball bat.
There we go. And he's holding like it's
a jawbone.
Mm-hmm. And like Black House or Black Mouth that we're doing next week also has a bone knife, so those kind of fit together.
Yeah, but it's like this. It's kind of like a machete, but the handle is a jawbone.
A jawbone, yeah. And so then she's like, "You said the killer was wearing a mask, right? Are you wearing a mask?" And he touches his face, and he's like, "No." But then he looks in his backpack, and there's a mask in there.
Yeah, and
so this is like 20 minutes into the movie. We find out that he is the killer.
Yeah, but they also kind of set it up to where maybe he's not the killer. Like, there's a scene later on where the killer loses his weapon, so it's like kind of possible that maybe Sam's not the killer and he just happened to pick up the weapon. And
yeah.
There's a part where the mask is on the ground or something, and maybe he just happened. Like, they kind of make it to where, yeah, we think you're the killer, but maybe not.
But so we find out through flashbacks that Sam told the story of the camp to the counselors that arrived.
So
well,
so Sam is like the lead counselor, or I don't know what you call
head counselor.
But he does all the hiring for the camp, and we see all the counselors getting there, and he tells them that the first weekend there, of course, there's no campers there yet, but the first weekend there is going to be a phone-free weekend. So he takes everybody's phones.
Well, and that not the taking the phones, but like them getting there early and like having a week. It reminded me of Final Girls, because in Final Girls there are also camp counselors that get there early, so they're just having fun until the kids get there and stuff.
Yeah, but I thought this was kind of cool the way they did it, because this movie does not take itself seriously, but
no,
it was kind of a cool way to introduce us to all the players in the movie, like all the characters, because it'll pop up and say Steve, the Kayak King, or it tells you everybody's name. But we do meet Amani.
Yeah.
And we find out that last summer, Amani and Sam had a summer fling, but then she broke up with him before camp was over.
Sam did not see it as a fling. He thought it was something more, and she saw it as a fling.
Yeah.
And we also meet Jessica? Jamie. Okay. We also meet Jamie, who she kind of reminded me of the neighbor girl with the clipboard and the guitar.
Right.
Like from Final Girls. There we go.
Shy girl with the clipboard and the guitar. She wears bibs, and she's just kind of, girl next door type person.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so he takes all their phones and gives them all their camp shirts, and then it's the campfire,
Yeah.
which you started to talk about.
And so they're one of the. I think it's Brad. Is it Brad?
I think so.
Tells like a
No,
like
it's the story's about Brad. I don't remember which counselor's telling it, but he's talking about
yeah
Brad being
yeah.
drunk.
But kind of just telling that. So then, once he's done telling his story, Sam steps up there and is like, "Well, do you know the history of this camp?" And tells the story of little Billy No.
Wrong one, Dawson.
He says that before the camp was there,
Before you tell the story, Sam's family owns the camp and owns the
yes,
land. So go ahead.
there were Native Americans that lived on the land, and a what do they call him? A woodcutter? Because they don't call him a lumberjack. So is it woodcutter? A woodcutter came and moved his family out into that woods, and he ended up cutting down this one tree that was like a sacred tree or something like that.
So when the natives lived there, they had trapped something in this tree.
An evil spirit, or like I think they make say like 100 evil spirits or something.
I don't know if they. I just know that they trapped something evil in this one tree.
And so anyway, he ends up cutting it down, and he made furniture and kids' toys, but for some reason he really wanted to make a mask with this wood. So he ended up carving a piece of the tree into a mask.
When he was telling that part about making the kids' toys, I thought, you know how cool that could have been? Like haunted kids' toys all over this village.
But so, so the other camp counselors that aren't Sam decide they're going to go in the woods and try to find this tree stump.
And I think is it Amani's idea? I'm pretty sure it's her idea.
I thought it was Brad's.
I thought it was Amani's because later on he tells Amani it's all her fault.
I think you're right, actually, yeah. But, so anyway, so they all kind of split off. Well, one girl, is it Alex? Is that her name?
I don't think there's an Alex.
What's her name? The one that says, I'll just follow you because your family owns the land. No. I don't think so.
Anyway, keep talking and I'll look up her name. Drew. Is it Drew?
Maybe. But Jamie ends up staying by the fire. And so Sam ends up going to the woods to see if anybody has found the tree. So he goes like right to where the stump is. And then that's when that girl comes out. Is it Drew?
I think so, but her IMDb doesn't have a picture, but I think it's her.
Okay. So she ends up saying, what is that? And she goes over to the tree and she's digging at the ground near it. And he's like, it's just the ground. There's nothing there. Well, she ends up picking up a mask from there. And she acts like she's going to put it on. And Sam's like, please don't put it on. Do not put it on. And she says, so how about you put it on? And like before he can react, pushes it onto his face.
And it reminds me of Groot without like the bottom half of the mouth and everything. It's just like the wood. I guess just the wood grain look.
Yeah.
But with just like dark eye holes and nothing else on the mask.
Yeah. But Groot has a mouth.
That's what I'm saying. It reminds me of Groot, except for, but just kind of the wood, to give people kind of an idea what it looks like.
I was trying to, it made me think of something, but I can't remember what it was. I don't know, I lost it. But anyway, so the mask starts talking to him and saying, claim what's yours or something like that. So he ends up finding the bone-handled knife in the tree stump.
Mm-hmm.
And ends up stabbing her to death. And she's like, this isn't funny, this isn't a joke anymore.
Yeah.
Right
when
before he
Dawson
does.
says a tree stump, it's like...
Probably 4 foot tall.
Yeah, and it's hollow in the middle.
Yeah. Maybe a little shorter than that, maybe like 3 feet. But it's a pretty tall.
Yeah. So, there's our kill number 1.
Yeah. So then the next 2 kills, he murders 2 of the counselors in the pool. I don't know what...
He cuts one of this. Okay, so we have to talk about this.
I know 6 is Steve, which is the kayak king.
We have to talk about this part though because he uses because again Chuck keeps asking him questions, and so these are all through flashbacks. And she's working in this store that is open while she's talking to him on the phone, and he tells her that the male counselor that was in the pool. he chopped his head in half. And she goes, oh my gosh, you chopped his head in half? And there's like a customer standing there. And then at one point when she says he's covered in blood, she's like, well, how did you get covered in blood? And this customer's standing there and she's like, sorry, I'm helping my niece with her college paper. And he's like,
Yeah.
something about the damn education kids are getting nowadays
Yeah.
or something. So there's just
then-
all these little funny, like...
Yeah, and then there's a part, I think it's the part where he's talking about that when he killed the first person, is when he's talking about it. A lady comes up to Chuck and says, just tell him to kill himself.
Yeah.
And so, because when he puts the mask on, he can't control himself. Like, it takes him over, essentially.
So...
The Mask, like the movie The Mask with Jim Carrey.
Oh.
That's not what The Mask reminded me of, but that's what this reminded me of. Or the
Yeah.
Haunted Mask from Goosebumps, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, Haunted Mask.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
Not in appearance, but...
Right, I haven't seen
No,
The Mask.
in appearance. The mask when it's not on someone. It's like wood in it.
Oh, I didn't know that. I've never seen The Mask, so...
I'm looking it up for you.
So, So he does that to the male counselor. He drowns the female counselor, so that's 3. So then...
So who's 4 and 5?
He leaves the pool. So I want to back up a minute to the origin story. So you forgot to mention, and I didn't think about it then, but the wood carver who makes this mask actually goes back and he murders his entire family and the remainder of the village except for one
A woman that was out of
girl.
town.
Yeah. She was out gathering eggs, I think they said. So she actually murders the woodcutter by cutting his head off with an axe.
Which is another Final Girl thing.
Yes.
I don't know if you...
And then we also mentioned things that she mentions, that Chuck mentions. There's Boondock Butcher, the kindergarten teacher, Captain Howdy was... Okay, hold on. The Boondock Butcher was killed by a kindergarten teacher. Captain Howdy was crushed by a falling steeple bell from a nun. Meaty Face was ran over repeatedly with a spiked wheelchair by a paraplegic.
Yeah, that's the ones I didn't know if those were from actual things or if they were just made up.
I'm not sure. I've heard Captain Howdy before, so I don't know. I'm not sure.
Because if the spiked wheelchair one is real, I want to see that.
So Drew...
Like, wait, like movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Drew died
like
at the
real.
site. Ted and Alice were the 2 that died in the pool. Then Bob dies. He gets impaled through the back with a machete.
Oh, yeah, because aren't they, like, in the kitchen,
Yeah.
and he's like, oh, we can take advantage of the fact there's no one here, and he finds
And
marshmallows.
this was so funny because I thought they were looking for, like, alcohol, and he's like jackpot when he finds the graham crackers and marshmallows. Yeah. And so when Sam stabs him, he stabs him...
Through the chest.
Yeah. But he's got his flashlight in his mouth, and as he's falling, he goes, now we just need chocolate. Did you catch that? And to me, Carol's death was the most gruesome one. He smashes her head in the refrigerator door 11 times. Now,
I do think it's the most gruesome.
She fights back.
Yeah.
She's like throwing stuff at him and really trying to get away, but she ends up tripping, and he smashes her head in the refrigerator door.
And he snaps to a little bit of consciousness when that happens.
Yes. And it's not like he has the mask on continually. Like, there are parts where he doesn't have the mask on, and he's like interacting with people as as Sam. So it's just, I don't know, it's just a cool idea. I guess the mask is kind of like Billy Murphy's mask too.
Yeah, he's a little more intricate though.
Yeah.
Like Billy Murphy's.
Yeah. So, want to talk about Steve? Because he's victim number 6.
So, Steve is the kayak king. Did you notice, though, when he's teaching the lesson, they're canoes. And he specifically says, we only have canoes here at the camp. And then we cut over to Sam talking to her on the other dock. And he says, there's Steve the kayak king.
But you must not have caught this, because at the beginning, when they're all getting to camp, Sam says... Steve the kayak king to Steve, and he goes, well, actually, they're canoes, right?
I missed that.
Yeah. So, but one thing I was reading earlier said kayak king is a play off of kayaking.
Yeah.
The full word. So he did point it out to Sam.
Okay.
Sam's just kind of goofy.
But I think Steve, he just, like, he stabs him and then hangs him upside down from a tree.
And then repeatedly stabs him after he's
I don't
already hanged
remember
up from
that,
the tree. He actually disembowels him with the machete.
I do remember that, yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember that, actually.
And at some point before we see how he dies, we see some of the other counselors find Steve.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that's the very first kill that's revealed, but we don't see it happen. We just see them find the body, and Sam's the one that finds the body,
Yeah.
and then he yells and everyone else comes over.
Yeah. And it's funny because that was kill number 6, and so, like you were talking about the lettering popping up, our first kill that we actually see, or dead body that we see, is actually kill number 6.
Yeah.
So it tells us at that point, like, there's 6 dead counselors.
Well, and at the very beginning of the movie, we get our first thing on screen that says how many counselors are killed. It says, like, counselors killed. And at the very beginning, when he's running into that cabin, it says counselors killed a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one thing when he's on the phone with Chuck at the beginning. She's like, well, who's still alive? How many? And he's like, I don't know, a lot. Like, he doesn't know.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, what happens? I'm going to say this right now. We are not doing this movie justice because there's no way to talk about
so
this
funny.
movie in a way to make it, because of the jump. And this is something we haven't said either, like, kind of we've said, but, like, we jump from the camp to Chuck. Yeah. And I like Chuck, but she's very, like, if you called me and said, hey, Mom, I'm at this camp, and, like, everybody's being murdered, and I'm like, okay, I've watched all these horror movies, I'm going to help you figure out who the killer is, I'm not going to be as calm as she is. And she's like, there's, like, no emotion whatsoever.
I think it's kind of a dry humor to it, though. And
I do, too, and I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. And she's very methodical and very...
yeah, and she is very nonchalant about a lot of it, though.
Yeah, but, like, she's very scientific, I guess. Like, she goes in the back of the store for this. She tells him she's going to go get this stack of books that they've never put out for sale. And he's like, never put out for sale, or that you kept back there for yourself.
Yeah.
And so she's got, like, kind of like the Evil Dead looking book with the leather cover and all that. And she's
Necronomicon.
I'll never remember that word. But she's trying to figure out how to help him.
It's actually originally from Lovecraft's writing.
I think I knew that. Oh.
There were allusions to a book before Lovecraft got on the scene and started writing, but he's the one that popularized the term Necronomicon.
I thought that was an Evil Dead thing.
But there isn't actually, like, a real Necronomicon. It is something Lovecraft made up, but he was inspired by real, like...
Necromancer?
Well, like, real, like, archaic texts. Like the Egyptian Book of the Dead and stuff like that.
Interesting. I did not know that.
But, occult books, that's what I was trying to think.
So again, don't judge this movie by our review, because I can tell you I forgot how good it was.
And it's so funny.
It is.
But the funny does not take away from, like, the suspense or, like, what's going to happen of it.
Yeah. And it's just, I really feel like if it had been filmed the way we're talking about it...
Yeah, it would have been another slasher.
It would have been a Final Girls, which I love Final Girls, it's one of my favorites, but it would have been that, like, your basic horror comedy, like, and so the way that they put this together is what makes this one so good.
And we probably make it sound confusing the way we're telling this story, but even though the story is told out of order, it does not feel confusing in the movie.
No, because
and
it's like
I said,
trying to remember things. So
yes,
it's like,
because he doesn't remember anything that happened when he had the mask on until he starts talking to Chuck about it.
Right, and she'll ask him, like, she's very specific in what she asks, like, okay, so you murdered these 2 people at the pool, or you murdered this person here, go backwards, like, so, and that's when we find out about the people at the pool, because the pool's right there by...
Yes.
So, anyway.
And so basically, I think by the time we get to, like, the modern what's going on, the only ones left are Brad and Jamie that we know of.
So, at one point in this whole thing, like, they all keep looking to Sam for guidance, because he's the head counselor, and, like, he should be telling them what to do. And so they decide that they're going to, and this made me think of Final Girls because they do the same thing, but they're going to set booby traps for him.
Yes.
And so Sam's like, well, we're going to be on offense. You guys go be on defense, and we'll like walk the perimeter while you're setting this stuff up. And so one of them, which this part was funny because Jamie digs this giant hole.
Yeah, and also one thing, this hasn't happened yet, but it's commented on later in the movie. But it explains why Sam sells his phone when he made the other counselors give up their phones. Someone says something about it to him later in the movie, and he goes, well, I'm in charge. I have to have my phone in case something happens.
Oh.
And so that's why he kept his phone.
And he also tells Chuck that he called the sheriff's office and he had to leave a message because the sheriff is 78 years old and doesn't work overnights or weekends or something.
Yeah. And they're like 25 miles out from
town.
Yeah.
So they set up this pit, and they're going to trick the killer into following into this pit that they make spikes for.
One thing I was surprised about in this movie is that his phone never drops signal. Because I thought maybe that was going to happen where at some point he's talking to her and all of a sudden his phone goes out, and that never happened. Every time he's calling her, someone either hangs up or... I think every single time that they end a phone call, someone hangs up. On Sam's end.
Yeah.
But the scene where... Okay, so there's a scene in the, like, modern, where we're following them, where Sam is trying to resist putting on the mask and it's laying on the ground. And he's in, like, a gazebo.
Okay,
and he's laying on the ground.
We're not there yet, because
Okay.
that's why I was talking about the pit they built.
Okay.
So, Amani is tempting... I don't know, that's not the right word. Tempting the killer to come kill her in front of this pit. And so she takes off running, and he actually just like finally pushes her into the pit, and she lands on the spikes and dies.
No.
Yeah.
He chokes her. Right?
Oh, you're right. He chokes her and then he throws her in the pit.
I didn't think it was in the pit.
Yeah, she ends up in the pit.
Okay.
Because that's how she ends up with the blood on her side.
Okay. I believe you. I know he throws her. I didn't know she landed in the pit.
Yeah, she lands in a pit. It just didn't work very well.
But
and then he also kills...
He ends up killing 10 people.
Heather.
Or no.
Heather, and then Amani.
Is Heather the one he just, like, chops her head off?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's kind of funny, because she like, goes to run at him or something, or he's gonna try to fight him in some way, and he just, like, slices her head right off, and we just see it flying through the air.
Like, that's just, like...
Yeah, it's kind of a funny beat. But the part at the gazebo, it's funny because the way it does the humor in this is we see from, like, because we're flashing between, like, Sam's point of view and Brad's point of view. So from, like, Sam's point of view, the mask is, like, calling to him and stuff, but then from Brad's point of view, it just looks like he's, like, dancing around on the ground trying to get away from the mask.
It's funny because,
Yeah?
like, when we're from Sam's point of view, it's very slow. It's, like, slowed down and, like, very...
Well, and you can
dramatic,
hear the voices.
and like he's really fighting this thing, and then you flip to Brad's point of view, and Sam's just like rolling around on this gazebo.
In the gazebo.
In the gazebo.
But Chuck is also on the phone with Sam trying to get him to resist putting the mask back on. Well, he puts it on right when Brad comes up, and he ends up chopping off Brad's arms.
Did you notice though that like when he first put them? Okay, so he tells them that he has a plan. He tells Chuck he's got a plan. He's going to get rid of the mask. So he puts it on the ground of the gazebo, and he jumps off of the bench, and it just like he just like falls off of it, like there's nothing to it. So it's face up. Well, then it doesn't really like draw him in quite as much until it's flipped over.
Yeah,
and
I did notice
his
that.
Face.
And I do want to mention earlier in the movie, Chuck had said, like, well, try to get rid of the mask if the mask is making you do it, and he tried to burn it, and it started burning his face.
Yeah,
and so here.
Oh, I was afraid of that.
She said it's bonded to you, attached, something. But anyway, so when he jumps on it here, he also grabs his face. Did you see that?
I didn't get that. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, he jumps on the mask and he goes, oh, and grabs his face. And that's why he ends up falling to the ground.
I missed that. And then he goes, because he told her it was a good idea, and he's like, bad idea.
This movie did remind me a lot of Final Girls and Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
But he ends up putting the mask on, and he ends up cutting Brad's head off.
Yes, after he cuts his arm off. Okay, so I want to go back for a minute,
Okay.
and this is why I've been on my phone for a minute. But so, Boondock Butcher that she mentions is a horror novel by Chuck Buda and Jenny Adams from 2021, which doesn't make sense because this movie came out before that.
When did this movie come out? I thought this was 2024.
Oh, I thought this was 2018.
I thought it was 2024.
I'm pretty sure it's 2018. Yep, 2018.
Okay.
So scratch that because I'm not sure where that idea came from then. Captain Howdy is in a 1998 movie called Strangeland. And then Meaty Face is from a 2005 Australian horror comedy called Feed.
Maybe we should watch that one sometime.
But I'm not sure. Boondock Butcher. I wonder if that's a movie.
I don't know. I feel like it's an alliteration name, and it's kind of generic enough that, like, multiple people could come up with that name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So anyway, that's a little bit of clarification on what she mentions. So, Brad is dead, and so Jamie's the only one left, and so Chuck realizes that Jamie is Sam's final girl.
Yes.
And she's very, like, nonchalant about, well, sorry, but she's going to be the one that kills you. Like,
yeah, and she's like, don't worry, though, because when there's sequels, your grave will get hit by lightning or something, and you'll come back.
Yeah.
In a few
like,
years.
That doesn't make me feel better.
Yeah.
Like, so he's like, no, I got a plan. I'm going to get rid of Jamie first. Like, you know. So then we switch to Jamie, and she's running through the woods, and she gets a hand over her mouth, and we find out Amani is still alive.
Yes.
And so Sam is chasing them, and they end up getting him trapped in, I don't even know what.
Like a tool shed or
yeah,
something.
I don't know what it is because it's got like it kind of looks like a mausoleum because it's got just a metal gate.
Yeah, but it's got like gardening stuff in it.
Yeah.
And it, I think it's connected to a bigger building, but I don't think you can get into the bigger building from it.
I don't think so either. But it was just kind of a weird opening door thing for it. So they lock him in there, but he's got the mask, and so he's still on the phone with Chuck, and he's trying to tell them, you know, it's not me, it's the mask.
Well,
and
he's
so
not still on her. When he put the mask on, he hung up. He calls her again here because he tells his side of the story that the mask is making him do it, and then he calls her here to try to collaborate his story.
Right, and he gives his phone to Amani.
Yes. So now Amani and Jamie have the phone.
And she basically tells them the same thing, like, Jamie's the final girl. And they have
And
this whole conversation about if she's a virgin and if Amani's...
Well, that's not yet.
Yeah, they do. They do that when they're standing outside right there, don't they?
That's after they... That's not yet.
Okay.
What happens here is Chuck is telling them on the phone, yeah, just he's safe as long as he doesn't have the mask on, so just make sure he doesn't put the mask on. And while she's saying all this, he's being lured by the mask, and they're not paying attention to them because they're listening to what Chuck is saying on the phone, and he ends up putting the mask back on. And he ends up... I don't think he can reach him yet.
No, because he's locked in.
So the two girls end up kind of going off, and this is where they have that conversation because... What's her name?
Jamie?
Amani is like, well, I'm just going to kill Jamie then, and I'll be the final girl. And that's when they have the conversation about being a virgin and alcohol and drugs and all that.
Yeah.
And I think she even asked her about caffeine, and Jamie says, no, I don't.
Yeah. But Jamie flips the script, and she actually kills Amani with a shovel to the head.
Yes. Yeah. She knocks her down on the ground, and they cuts her head off with the shovel. Yeah. And the whole time Chuck is still on the phone, so Chuck is like, what is happening? What is going on?
And so Sam doesn't have the mask on again. He's got it in the backpack, and he's like, I'm going to go back to the tree stump.
No.
And he runs into Jamie.
No. Chuck tells Jamie, I have she's like, he's breaking out with the mask on, and Chuck tells Jamie, you can't face him here with a shovel. You're not gonna live. You need to face him at the place where it all started. You need to find the tree trunk. And she says, well, I don't know where the tree trunk is. And then Chuck says, well, he killed the two people at the pool next, so it has to be somewhere in that area. So Jamie leaves, and then Sam takes off the mask and gets his phone back.
And runs into Jamie and tells her
Yes.
that he's going to go to the stump.
He doesn't run into Jamie.
Yes, he does. They have a whole conversation in the woods because she's scared of him. And he's got the backpack on, and he's
I'm
covered
saying-
in blood, and he's like, I'm going to...
Not until after he has a conversation with Chuck where he tells Chuck he's gonna go.
Okay.
Because he tells Chuck on the phone, I'm gonna go find the stump. I think I know a way to end this. And then Chuck is trying to tell him no, and he ends up hanging up on her. And he starts heading that way. Or no, she says, no, let me look through some books more and stuff. And he says, there's no time. And then he starts going that way. That's when he runs into Jamie.
Okay, so then he runs into Jamie, and they both end up going to the stump together. And he convinces Jamie to bury the mask. He's
Yes.
like, I don't want to be... And this scene is so funny because he reminded me of the other guy from... crap. My favorite movie. What's my favorite? Final Girls. He
Duncan?
reminded me of Duncan with his, like... Because he kept being like, make sure you bury it deep enough, but
Mhm.
not too deep. And make sure,
Yeah.
this and that. Like, he's just very much Duncanish in this scene.
And he's turned around with her back to her because he's like, I don't even want to look at the mask.
Yeah.
And it's in the bag, and he's like, don't even touch it, just dump it out. But get my car keys out of there. I need my
Yeah.
car keys.
And so she does.
Oh, and earlier when they tried, whenever they found the sixth body, when they found Steve strung up, they all tried to leave, but when they got back to the cabin and got in the car, like the wires in the front were all pulled out, so they
Yeah.
couldn't leave in the car.
That looked like a heck of a lot of wires.
Yeah,
I thought
I thought
that.
so,
I don't
too.
know if there's really that many. Like, I've been
I don't
under the
know.
hood of a car, but I don't think there'd be that many wires.
They also looked very thin for like car
Yeah.
wires.
And they were all just kind of in a pile. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. But anyway. So she's burying the mask, and she reaches in to get his keys, and she brings the mask out instead and puts the mask on.
Yeah, and he still has her back to her, and she stabs him through the stomach, I think, and so he dies. And she takes the mask off and throws it on the ground, and goes over and picks, I think, the keys up,
Mm-hmm.
and then she starts to walk away, and then we see her grab the mask,
And she's walking off into the sunset.
and that's the last we see of her.
And that's it. And then we also have a part, at this part, his phone starts ringing. And it's the sheriff, and the sheriff is leaving him a voicemail and telling him that
He's tired of these pranks
the
with the
land's been in
kids.
his family in Sam's family for so many years. Sam knows better than to cause trouble out
Yeah.
there, and he'll send somebody out early in the morning because his granddaughter's going to camp this year.
And then we
I get
get
to tell this part.
Yeah.
I didn't tell this part. So then we're back at Rings of Saturn 2 years later, and
Yes.
Chuck is working, and the phone rings, and she answers it. Actually, we see a lightning strike, and then we're at just kind of like a black screen with lightning, and then
Isn't that what introduces the 2 years later?
I think so.
Yeah.
And she answers the phone, and she says Rings of Saturn, and he goes, Chuck, and she says Sam, and that's the end of the movie.
And there is no sequel.
There is not a sequel. I really think this one and I think Final Girls need sequels. But if you're in the mood for a good horror comedy, this is, I mean,
I would put this up there with
put this up there with Final Girls is still my favorite.
I
but
would put this up there with Final Girls and Chuck and Dale versus Evil. Is that what it's called?
Tucker and Dale.
Tucker and Dale. Thank you. I would put those three probably on the same level, and I think Cabin in the Woods is just a step up because it like. I think the thing about Cabin in the Woods for me is it like really is like horror, whereas these are more lean on the side of comedy.
Yeah, I don't really think you can put Cabin in the Woods as the same category as these other two. I mean, you can, But to me, these two Final Girls and this one are more closely like
Would you put
aligned.
Tucker and Dale versus Evil on the same
Yes, yes.
platform?
But I don't think I would put Cabin in the Woods because there's some humor in Cabin in the Woods, but it's a more. I
It's
guess
considered a
maybe.
horror comedy.
Right, but I guess just with like the governmental aspect of it, like
Yeah.
to me, it's more serious. It
Yeah.
is a comedy. I mean, there are some funny parts in that movie, but to me, these are so cheesy and lean more into the comedy. Um, and I think in Cabin in the Woods is a little bit more subtle on some of the comedy.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying because like The Dead Don't Die, I think is considered a horror comedy,
Yeah.
but I don't think I would ever compare it to these because it's
No.
kind of just its own.
It's more of a comedy horror.
And
like
I don't
the
know.
comedy comes first. In
I don't
that
know if I
one.
would have brought up Cabin in the Woods if Marty was not in this movie.
Yeah.
I think that's what's got
Yeah.
it on my mind.
Yeah, but I really like this movie. I still think I like Final Girls a little bit better. But watching this one a second time, I forgot how good this one was.
I think if we're putting these three, if we're putting Tucker and Dale versus Evil, Final Girls, and this one on the same in the same category, I think Tucker and Dale is probably my favorite out of them, and this one might be second over Final Girls.
See, I don't know if I could. I don't know. Final Girls just. I don't know. I think the thing for me with Final Girls is the whole thing with her mom, which I still
Yeah.
have my mom, but I don't
Yeah.
have my dad anymore. And so I think the whole thing with, and maybe me being a mom, just that whole connection with the mom thing, but I honestly forgot, like when I suggested this one, I'm like, oh my gosh, what if we watch it and it's completely stupid? Because I knew what it was about. Like I remembered the phone calls and I remembered all that, but
So did you know going into it this time that it was played by the same guy that played Marty?
I did not.
Okay.
I started watching it, I was listening to his voice, and I was like, man, he sounds like Marty. But to me, he didn't look the
I
same.
think he looks like Marty.
Um,
Because it was like as soon as I saw his face.
so no, I didn't know. I didn't remember that who played Sam. I knew. I tried to tell you the other night who played Chuck, but I couldn't remember what
Yeah.
her name was.
Yeah, and that's why I said Chuck when I said Chuck and Dale. And I
Oh,
meant Tucker.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like this one. Have we done Tucker and Dale versus Evil on the podcast yet? I don't
I
think we
think
have.
so. I thought
Did
we
we?
did. I thought we did because I thought remember talking about the wood chip or
I think maybe we talked about it in favorites.
maybe.
I don't think we've done a
I thought
dedicated
we did.
episode.
I thought we
We
did.
might
Or
have.
maybe we
I don't
didn't.
know. We've done like what 40 of these now.
Yeah.
Hard to keep track of
So-
them all.
Again, if you're looking for a slasher horror movie, this is not the one you're looking for.
No.
If you're okay with a little bit of comedy and
This is another one that would be fun to watch with your friends.
yeah, and it's I don't know, is it stupid to say it's like a feel good horror movie?
No.
Like it's
A palate cleanser.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
a good palate cleanser horror movie where it's not really that.
and that's exactly why we picked it because we did
Mhm.
Seven and we did Black Mouth
Cause
and we did
I don't know what we do.
what was our other series?
Criminal Minds.
Criminal Minds.
Yeah.
And those are more serious.
Yeah.
So
And Wendigoon, I love watching Wendigoon, and he always talks about in his videos when he talks about dark stuff. He always said it's really fun to fall down the rabbit hole, but sometimes you got to peek your head out and remember that there's other stuff out there, and like realize that there is good in the world even though there's all this bad.
right.
And I really like that. And so a lot of times, if I'm reading like a lot of dark books or like watching a lot of dark movies, I like getting a palate, what we call palate cleansers in there, where we watch a movie that's a lot lighter and that
Yeah.
kind of doesn't take a whole lot of thinking or isn't super depressing.
Right. And there's an author which I won't read his books anymore just because they're too extreme for me and should I say his name?
Is it Beauregard?
No.
Oh,
I haven't read any of his.
I would not.
Not say his name or not read his
No,
books?
you can
Oh.
say his name.
So my author is John Athan, and he is a very, very, very good writer. And if you like dark horror books, very extreme dark horror books, he is for you. But I read 2 of his back to back and was so depressed for like a week. Like I didn't want to pick up another book, and
Yeah.
I'm not the kind of person that wants to read that. And I know there's an audience for it because, and he, like I said, he is an excellent writer, but I can do like one extreme and then give me 6 months of not having anything super
Yeah.
extreme.
Well, like I've read some like darker manga, and then in between, like I've read like Dinosaur Sanctuary and stuff like
Right.
that, stuff that's like a lot more lighthearted and
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I'm like I said, nothing against John Nathan because he
Yeah.
is an amazing writer. He's got a lot of books out
Everything against Beauregard.
there.
I'm sorry, but his books are fetish content, and he says they're extreme horror, and they're not very well written, and they don't make a whole lot of sense, and it's just his fetishes.
Nah, I haven't read anything by him, and I won't. So.
Yeah, they're disgusting. Don't look them up. Just leave it alone and take my advice and don't read any of his stuff. What's it? Do you remember his first name?
Aaron.
Okay. I want to say Anthony, and I knew that wasn't right.
Aaron. So, back to our movie really quick. If you have seen things like Final Girls and Tucker and Dale versus Evil, give this one a shot.
Yes.
It's not. I don't even know where I came across it. I'm gonna guess probably like Dollar Tree in their dollar bin a couple of years ago, but or maybe when I was looking at Final Girls, it was one that was suggested as like Final Girls. But
I wasn't.
Definitely check this one out.
It's too new, but I didn't. Sometimes you watch movies when you worked at Family Video that were kind of lesser known ones.
That. Yeah, that was my favorite job ever. But
maybe,
yeah,
maybe we should open a Rings of Saturn.
So check this one out. Let us know what you think. If you've seen it, let us know. If you haven't seen it, well, too bad we ruined it for you. But yeah, so,
I think even if you had this spoiled for you, it's still fun to go watch it.
Yeah.
I don't
even know what the back of the movie says. Like, it may tell you from the beginning. And I mean, what's the title of it?
Yeah.
You might be the killer.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, we mostly just talked about like plot elements, but there are so many funny scenes in this and jokes that we can't give justice to in a podcast.
And I thought like, and I never remember his name, but Bumper's character in Final Girls, is kind of raunchy. And
is it like Chad? It's something like that. Like it's one of those like.
I don't remember.
You can go suck a turd.
Yeah. Oh, the writing is so bad. If you haven't seen Final Girls, we're quoting that movie.
Yeah. And go watch our podcast episode on it because I think that was a fun one.
But anyway, like there is not anything in this movie that is like even the humor. Like there's one part where Armani takes her shirt off to put on her camp shirt.
Yeah.
But there's no sex. There's no
nudity.
There's no. Really, I can't even think of any like really dirty jokes or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's a good one.
There is gore, but it's not. I mean, I don't watch this with your kids, but it's not like extreme gore or anything. It's not Saw
level gore. That's why you've got Saw level, Scream level, and then Final Girl level.
And we're talking about Saw. We're talking about the franchise, not the first movie, because the first Saw doesn't even really have much in it.
Yeah. So or Hostel. You could.
Hostel would be a good one because even from the first one, it's very violent.
I like Hostel though.
Yeah.
So
I like some of the Saw movies.
They just got old.
They just got where they felt more like a soap opera than.
Yeah.
Like where it was like, oh, there's a box in this movie. Well, guess what? It's not revealed what's in the box until 2 movies later, so you gotta watch them all.
Right. So
they started doing flashbacks in flashbacks, and like, the timeline got really confusing. Anyway, but yeah, that's You Might Be the Killer, or as you said before we started, We Might Be the Killer.
You, we, me, I, we. We all might be killers.
Whatever pronoun you want to throw in there.
Yeah, he, she, they, them. Yeah, so check it out. Like I said, it's not one to take seriously. It's just a fun movie. But I do have to say that there are movies that we've talked about before that I would consider like funner movies that like I didn't feel like I needed to sit down and watch. Like I could kind of be fiddling with something else. And this one was not like that. This one had me drawn in from the first minute.
This one I would say actually sit down and watch. Like it's not because we've said some are like good to throw on at like a party or something. This would be one that's fun to sit down and watch.
Yeah.
I think
you
don't
could
know.
also throw it on
I was gonna say
too. Like
I think
if somebody sits down and watches a scene, more than likely they're gonna get a murder scene. So
and that's what I was gonna say. And they, not even necessarily that they show the same murders over and over, but they show enough snippets to like, so you understand where we're at in the timeline that you can kind of understand what's going on. But I do think this is one you should just sit down and watch, like, if you're going to watch it.
Yeah, I do too.
But
and I want to say this, I want to throw this out there because I thought this was really cool because I didn't watch it until this morning and you watched it this morning.
Yeah.
And I messaged you and said, well, you messaged me something and I said, well, did you like it? And you said, I've got 15 minutes left. And I think I was right at like 15 minutes left and we don't live together. So it was just kind of cool the way the timing worked out that we were kind of both at the same spot at the same time. So... But yeah, check it out. Next week is Blackmouth by Ronald Malfi for our book.
Yes, and then
And
next
then,
month is psychological, and
yes,
we will let you know what movies and books we're
we are
doing later
doing
on.
Donnie Darko, Primal Fear.
Okay.
Scowler is our book. We're doing, I never say the word right. It's the one with, the kid from, I can't say this, I never say this word right. That one. Vivarium.
Vivarium.
And then Don't Worry, Darling are our movies, and then Scowler, I think I mentioned that, but Scowler's our book.
Yeah,
So.
and I don't remember who that's by, but Scowler's one I recommended. It's one I read when I don't know. Was I
It's under that crate right there.
Kraus?
Kraus. Daniel Kraus.
Yeah. I think was I in junior high when I read it? I think I was in junior high when I read it. But it was probably one of my first horror books I ever read, and I really like it. So I've been wanting to find an excuse to do it on the podcast, and we've had it slated a few times and pushed it back to do other stuff at my suggestion.
Yeah.
So I'm happy we're finally getting to it. But
so it fits in with psychological. And then I also want to mention, in August, I'm really excited about this because I love horror movies, but I'm very much a reader. And so in August, we are doing a full month of books. And then, just a teaser for later in the year, Per Jacobson wrote a book called 25 Days that came out last year. And it's about a family that goes on a mountain vacation, and it's their point of view for the 25 days leading up till Christmas, and they're being chased by a serial killer, or a killer. So 25 Days came out last year. November 1st of this year, 25 Nights comes out, and it is the same story but told from the killer's point of view. And so we are going to tandem read it, with me doing 25 days and you doing, or me doing 25 nights and you doing 25 days. So we've got that to look forward to in December.
And the way we're going to do it is a little bit different than we do books normally. Since it's the 25 days, you're supposed to read like one chapter each day. Is that what it is? But what we're going to do is we're probably going to read about 5 chapters and then do a little snippet about it each day or whatever. However, whenever we get through each 5 chapters, we're going to sit down and do a little bit. And then at the end, for the last 5, we'll sit down and just talk about the books overall and everything.
Yeah, but I want... Dawson's going to do 25 Days because I've read it, and
Yeah.
I haven't read 20. Obviously, it's not out yet, but I haven't done Nights, so I think it's going to be a really cool read. But
Yeah.
So we've got that to look forward to the end of this year, and then, like I said, August will be book month. This is May, so June is psychological thrillers. July, we're doing our shark month to coincide with Discovery Channel's Shark Week.
Yeah.
And then August will be our book month.
Yeah.
So.
And we haven't decided on September yet.
Not yet.
October, we'll probably do what we did last year and do anthologies. November, no idea yet. But December, we'll probably do Christmas stuff again.
Yep, for sure. So, any suggestions for fall or winter, let us know. But I'm really excited, and we are really happy that you guys have stuck with us through all this. So,
yeah.
We'll see you next week.